Sydney economist has been sentenced to 3 years jail in Myanmar following a secret trial by a military court. The Australian government is calling for Sean Turnell's immediate release after he was convicted alongside Myanmar's ousted leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, for allegedly breaching state secrets. The Macquarie University academic has been held in detention since February 6, 2021. Sky News host Danica DeGiorgio spoke to Australian Myanmar Institute Director Professor Monique Skidmore.
Firstly, what is your reaction to this sentence?
It's a strange thing to say, but it's probably the best outcome that could have occurred. It is only 3 years. There is no hard labour. And also the second charge that he was also charged with, an immigration offence, he's going to serve that concurrently. So in the sense that he's already spent 19 months in prison and this is a 3-year jail term, he may be able to have that time taken off his sentence. And the possibility now is that he's been charged with an immigration offence, is that he may be deported. So all in all, nothing was going to happen until the sentence occurred. And now that it's occurred, we can just be hopeful perhaps that it wasn't worse and that we may that he may be released, possibly, if the Australian government is able to secure that.
Well, just on that then, has he got any chance of an early release? How does the justice system work over there?
Well, justice, I guess, is a strange word, isn't it? Yeah, a secret trial. The Australian embassy staff weren't allowed to be there. And he was charged, he got the same charges, the same sentence as the other people who were also, including Suu Kyi, who were also charged under the Official Secrets Act. It's entirely up to them. There is no justice there. There will be an appeal, but given that he's never been able to speak to his lawyers, who knows? It's a complete sham, and so we just hope that if the regime follows the course of previous regimes, they generally have deported foreigners after their sentence. But this is a new regime, and it's proven to be even more brutal than the ones before it.
How should the Australian government respond here?
There was a press release by the Foreign Minister last night saying that they'll continue to do all they can and they'll advocate every chance they get. But the Australian Myanmar Institute has called for an Australian envoy to Myanmar to secure Sean's release. And I think that's an important aspect now, because now negotiations can occur, we hope, for his deportation. I know that Human Rights Watch and some others are calling for Australia to impose sanctions on Myanmar. And whilst that should certainly occur at some point, I just don't think now giving up what little leverage Australia has would be the right thing to do.
How difficult will it be to get in contact with Sean Turnell now? What sort of conditions is he in?
He continues to be in a relatively new prison in Naypyidaw. He was initially in Yangon, in insane prison, but now he's in Naypyidaw because that's where the court is being held. So it's a new jail. It's got good security. He has had very limited access to consular officials, and he's had a couple of phone calls that I'm aware of with his family. So it's still very, very hard to have any idea of his well-being.
Why do you think he was detained in the first place?
Sean has had a passion for Burmese economics all his life, really, and it's an obsession, in fact. And he's very creative as an applied economist, and he was able to find ways of understanding the real economic situation without using what were terribly doctored figures. And so as an advisor to Aung San Suu Kyi, he was making suggestions and analyses that were at odds with the powerful military companies that control the economy. But like the other people who were caught up in this, he is also part of a pawn in an attempt to get rid of Aung San Suu Kyi and the National League for Democracy. So in some ways, it was just lucky for the regime that they were able to catch a foreigner up in their net as well. But it's really been about Aung San Suu Kyi, and he's in some ways collateral damage.